There we go. Hello, Jordan. If you want, you can introduce yourself and what you're running for.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate Abundance Denton, everything they've been doing over the last few years. My name is Jordan Villarreal. I'm running for Denton City Council District 1. I'm running to make sure that we have an experienced, forward-thinking voice on the dais, focused on those local issues that matter most to Dentonites, especially our District 1 residents. I'm an experienced choice. I served in the Planning and Zoning Commission here in town for 4 years, including a term as vice chair. Also served as a member of the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee, as well as the Development Code Review Committee, both for about 4 years as well. Also served in the state legislature as a chief of staff in the last session, and the last subsequent special sessions for a Democratic state representative focused on affordability issues. So, the policy Abundance Denton is fighting for is something, close to my heart as well. And the key issues I'm running on, number one, is making sure that we have someone on there who's listening to neighborhood concerns, ensuring that neighborhoods have a voice in the development process, pushing for better infrastructure repair. Sidewalk connectivity in District 1 has been a big concern, and especially environmental sustainability concerns as well. Making sure that we're protecting old growth trees, protecting our wildlife corridors, and ensuring that Denton remains 100% renewable when it comes to energy resources. So I look forward to answering your questions today, and thanks again for having me.
Right on, right on. Well, we will get right into it. The first three questions are public transit focused. So, question number one, what is your experience with using public transit? Have you used things like Go Zone, Connect buses, or the A train?
So I've actually, when I was at UNT, I graduated UNT at 2018. I came to school here in about 2016, and of course used the Connect buses regularly as a student, not only to get around campus, but to get closer to downtown as well. And I also in 2022, when DCTA was having the conversation around cutting bus lanes, especially in Louisville and Denton, I actually helped canvass on those buses to help get folks acclimated to that potential decision, getting folks interested in speaking out at the DCDA board meetings as well. And I've written the A train once or twice as well, getting to Carrollton to go to the DART station for the state fair. So I've never used Go Zone in Denton, but I have used via, I believe, in Arlington or Fort Worth, which basically is the same thing, owned by the same company, of course. So very familiar with the services DCTA offers, and want to make sure that we're offering better and more consistent services for the people of Denton County.
Right on, right on. Well, our next question, question number two. Accessibility is a big issue in public transit. How do you plan to work with DCTA to address things like lack of safe sidewalks, unprotected bus stops, low route coverage, etc.?
Right. So yeah, accessibility is non-negotiable to start, right? We need to make sure that we are increasing accessibility for folks who need to use public transit. That means, prioritizing sidewalk and crosswalk connectivity to our transit stops, adding more shelters, benches, and lighting to key stops every year. And, stronger requirements on these new developments coming in so that when big projects are approved, they include safe pedestrian connections to nearby transit. And making sure that we're talking with our DCTA board appointee and ensuring that they're advocating for especially lower income and differently abled folks who are using our transit system.
Right on, I love that. Let's see. Question number three. Dentonites have said that Go Zone is inefficient, unreliable, and uncomfortable. How does Go Zone factor into your plans for public transit improvement?
Sure. So yeah, not opposed to microtransit as a concept at all. And I think GoZone can be used to supplement but not replace. And that was always the argument back in 2022-ish when this was first proposed, right? And no one was, outright opposed to the existence of microtransit. It's a cheaper alternative to, taxiing or Ubering or Lyfting. And it's been helpful for a lot of residents to have that ease of use with the GoZone product. It doesn't service every neighborhood though in DCTA's purview. It doesn't service my neighborhood, for instance. So there's a lot of concerns there with the amount of servicing areas GoZone offers, as well as the concern around the reduced bus lanes due to us contracting with GoZone. Again, not opposed to GoZone at all. I do think there needs to be better training for some of the drivers. I think a lot of Dentonites would agree with that. But when it comes down to it, we need to make sure we're offering consistent bus lanes, better bus lanes, and getting back to the standard we had prior to 2022 and the amount of bus lanes we offered, without doing away with Go Zone as a concept.
Right on, right on. Well, our next few questions have more to do with housing, so we will get right into those. We'll start with question number 4. Do you have any plans to expand resources for our unhoused population?
I think it's important that we remain, an empathetic and compassionate city here in Denton. And that includes taking care of our unhoused neighbors, offering those wraparound services, but also applying for additional federal and county grants, because we don't have unlimited resources as a city, right? We're not the federal government. We can't, print money. We have a limited amount of tax dollars to play with here. And we need to make sure that we're utilizing those to the best of our ability to take care of our homeless Dentonites as best as we can. So I would be in favor of, trying to attract new grants, talking with our nonprofits to offer better services. And, as I've been saying, working with our regional partners to make sure that they're also taking care of unhoused folks in their communities so that we're not the only city in Denton County offering wraparound services and housing assistance, right? This can be a joint community DFW regional effort, and it has to be because right now, with the pace of growth we're experiencing, we don't have the services and the resources to offer to all of our unhoused neighbors here in Denton. So it's about, working with our regional partners, working with the state government, working with the county government. And, in my role as a chief of staff, I did all that at the state government level, working with those regional partners. So I have connections with cities and municipalities across DFW, and I'm hoping to utilize those to ensure that we are able to offer the best services available to unhoused neighbors and giving, you know, pushing back on other cities who are saying they can't do the same, right? It's about, staying strong in our convictions as an empathetic city, but also being reasonable with our goal as council members to be fiscally responsible. And, understanding that our role is not just to sit there and, shake our heads. We have to go out and talk with these other council members, with these other county commissioners, and let them know we need assistance here. We can't keep doing this all by ourselves.
Right on. I think that's a great plan. Let's see here. Our next question has a lot of factors that play into this, but question number 5, rent continues to increase to absurd levels here in Denton. How would you address this issue?
Right. So, it's pushing a lot of longtime residents and students and working families out of our community. There are a lot of folks graduating from, UNT, TW, NCTC who want to stay here, but, the rent prices have been skyrocketing for far too long. And we just can't keep up with it. The city has to use every tool in our toolbox that we have to keep people housed and make sure that new developments actually include affordable units, not just luxury apartments. And that means, trying to solve this missing middle issue, right? We have a lot of folks, a lot of, first time families, grad students, people who are just leaving college, teachers, single mothers who want to make Denton their home. But the only things we're building now are either really cheap apartment complexes or we're building, these, $500,000 to $1 million large lot houses. And that's all that's coming into Denton. So I want to make sure that we're offering those missing middle options, which is why on the Development Code Review Committee, I did support the compromise plan to allow for ADUs to be built here in town. I do support restricting the amount of Airbnbs we allow because that is taking housing stock away from residents, right? If we have the proliferation of all these California investors coming in, I'm not talking about the small mom and pop Airbnb providers. I'm talking about the folks who are purchasing up, those middle class housing stock, taking it out of our availability and, turning those into hotels, and they're not even paying hot tax on that. So there's a lot of issues at play here. And we have to have a council member who has the experience of working through these issues. And I've dealt with all this, as a planning and zoning commissioner and on the Development Code Review Committee, trying to help solve this issue without, putting the brunt of the, labor on those neighborhood associations that have been long-term partners with the city, right? It's a balancing act. We have to find the right approach and right balance to make sure that we're solving this in an appropriate manner.
Right on, right on. Well, our last question here is a cost of living question. So question number 6, people in Denton struggle to afford cost of living such as transportation, housing, groceries, etc. What do you hope to see the city do to make living here more affordable?
Right. So when folks are talking about affordability, it's more than just groceries. It's also the rent, the utilities, childcare, and transportation, right? We can't solve all at the city level, right? We can't control grocery prices at the city level. What we can control is making sure that we're keeping utility rates low for folks here in town. That affects both renters and homeowners. We can control making sure that we are, trying to push for better transportation options, so folks who don't have a car can live here, right? So that means increasing our bus routes. That means increasing the coverage area that GoZone offers so that folks who choose not to own a car, who can't afford a car, in most cases here in Texas, that's usually what it comes down to, is that they just can't afford a car, have those options available so they can get to and from work or to and from school in a timely manner without breaking the pocketbook. So there are options here for our city to take a look at, long-term solutions. That's it's not radical in nature, but it's, really proposing that those first solutions, lowering our utility tax rates and making sure that we're keeping our property tax rates low so people can afford to buy a home here in town without breaking the bank. And of course, increasing transportation options, increasing sidewalk connectivity. So folks who do want to walk or bike or take the bus to their job site can do so with ease.
Right on. Well, I love all of that. Um,
You don't say
to
that to everyone, do you?
Yeah, I do say it with everyone, but I really do love it. I love that we've had a lot of these really good conversations getting into the heart of these issues, you know? Um, to close us out, is there any other things that you want to say to people? Where can people find you or information about your campaign?
Absolutely. Well, first off, thank you, Alexandria, for giving me the opportunity to chat about some of these accessibility issues here in town. This has been one of the major things folks have been talking about on the doors, especially when we're talking with folks in apartments, right? And it's important for us to remember as council members that we don't just service one segment of the community. We have to service everyone here in town, and that includes folks who decide to live in apartments here in Denton. District 1, of course, is very apartment heavy.
Mhm.
So making sure those apartment livers feel heard and they feel as if they do have a responsive voice on council has been a priority of mine since starting this campaign. But again, my name is Jordan Villarreal. I'm the experienced choice for this seat. I'm the forward-thinking choice for this seat. I've dealt with local issues for the last several years as the planning and zoning commissioner. I've had to work with complex budgets as a chief of staff in the state legislature. I'm ready to hit the ground running on day one for everyone here in District 1. Make sure they have a real representative who's following their concerns and making sure that they have someone fighting for them on the dais. If you want to learn more about my campaign, you can go to jordanfordenton.com. My email's on there as well. It's info@jordanfordenton.com. Or you can text or call me at any time. I'm always available. My cell phone is 817-714-6780. Would love to hear from any constituents in District 1 or any Dentonite who has a concern. Always happy to chat. And I'm an open book. So if they have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, thank you, Abundance Denton, for giving us this opportunity to chat about the real issues affecting many Dentonites today. And I look forward to working with y'all when I'm on the city council.
For sure. I love that. We look forward to it too. I will go ahead and try to make sure I link all of that, link your Facebook and all that, when we post these videos. But for now, that is it. Thank you for taking time out for us, Jordan.
Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, and I look forward to chatting again.